So, Mr. Steve Chao, welcome.
Hyvää huomenta.
You're speaking Finnish. That's great.
Partially, yes.
So, you are about to restart the smartphone era in Finland, in Salo. Can you describe what is happening in your premises at Salo right now at this moment?
Well, currently, we have just taken over a facility in Salo. For most of April, we'll ramp up the equipment and building up the infrastructure, getting ready for our first production in May. And I would say our entry into Salo is entering at the end of the smartphone era, but beginning of the cipher phone era.
How many persons you are at the moment working with your company?
To be precise, we currently have 14, and we will have a Finnish managing director joining starting May 1st. So,
okay, and the production should be running on next month, but you have a couple of prototypes of your phones. Can you shortly explain what is happening with those phones?
Right, sure. Of course, what I have here is a flagship edition of Turing, which is called the Dark Wyvern. And when we first made the announcement in the United States, it was the Cardinal. And these phones runs Sailfish OS on a slightly older spec from Qualcomm, Snapdragon 801, but it's one of the fastest devices I've personally tried ever.
Okay. But the production has been delayed, or the starting of the production has been delayed a couple of times, and now you are saying it's about to start in next month. Is this the final timetable?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was delayed for good reason. First of all, we shifted production from China to Finland. So it was supposed to be a made in China phone, but now it's produced in Finland. So that caused about 3 to 4 months delay. And then moving all the servers and our global headquarters to Finland caused a tiny bit of delay. Okay. But everything will start in May. And shipment in May as well.
And the headquarters is now?
In Salo.
In Salo?
Yes.
Okay. You are planning to make 300,000 devices per year. Is that still possible because after these delays?
Well, I wouldn't say 300,000, but that's the optimistic figure. But the actual figure will come from our distributors around the world. Currently, we have distributors in China, India, GCC countries, even Europe, and United States. Once we have obtained a feasible figure from these distributors, we'll be able to make a better calculation. But looking at our facility right now, we are fully capable of producing 300,000 plus devices for this year.
What is the realistic estimate? What do you expect about these numbers?
I would say for the first generation Turing, we're looking at about 60 to 70,000 phones, but we have other product planned. So second generation Turing may hit the market by Thanksgiving, Christmas season. So that may ramp up to six-figure sales before the end of this year. We're pretty optimistic about it.
About the financing of Turing phone, could you elaborate how the financing will be organized?
Well, Turing has been entirely financed by the co-founders of this company. We have the funds to produce up to about 30,000 phones. But for subsequent productions, we will get helps from banks. We're now speaking to reputable Finnish financial sources because if we're able to ramp up production and increase the export, then there are firms that can help us or institutions in Finland that can help us with provide a few finance options. And once we're able to get into a country like China, which we have a pretty good ground in, we will be able to get additional finance to come up with the working capital. But in terms of companies' operation funding, we have that in place already. And that's what we've been using to acquire the facility in Salo and to hire the first 14 people.
You had already a first period of pre-ordering
Yes.
devices. How many pre-orders you got?
Back in August 2015, we had about 12,000, I wouldn't say pre-order reservations. But then in September, the iPhone launched. A lot of people couldn't wait, so they dropped their reservation. So initially, we had close to 2,000 pre-orders. And because of the delay, we have lost about 30% of our customers. They made a switch to other phones, couldn't wait anymore. But majority, 70% remained with us. And they're quite excited to get the phone next month. Although many expected the phone to be delivered this month, but one more month's delay is acceptable.
Are you worried about the numbers of pre-orders? They are not huge.
No, the pre-orders are, we used it to test water. Majority of our sales this year will go through our distributors. So selling the phone on your site, like any other companies, this is just to a proof of concept. But to ramp up the volume, it is always with distributors. It's same for every other brand. Huawei, Samsung, Apple, it's all the same.
When the production is in full steam, in full speed, what is the burn rate of cash? How long you can live with the money you have?
Currently, we have cash to run until middle of next year. But that's to say if we are only producing 30,000 devices. We have operational capital to run our company, to hire engineers, crypto scientists, so on and so forth. But to purchase components to that sort of scale, any company would require outside finance. So our company are good for this year and also until mid next year. And we will look into other options, such as venture capital or private equities.
So is this venture capitalism, is it your sort of plan B, or do you have plan B for financing?
Actually, venture capital or outside finance will be plan A. We're already speaking to various financial institutions around the world to help us not only get started in Salo, but to get ready for the growth stage in Salo, Finland.
You had recently your security phone project called Quasar, and it did not get enough financing. What is different now?
Yeah. So when it comes to crowdfunding, one thing we should know in the back of our mind is crowdfunding, you receive money from the customers, but you are not able to use it. These are money secured in a bank or a third-party agency. You will still require cash to run development. Quasar was a good concept to push forward the idea of end-to-end security. And it was in collaboration with another company. At the time, we didn't have our own resources for phone production, PCBA, that sort of stuff. And because of our specific requirements for the phone, we weren't able to get the other company to comply with our standard. This is why back in April last year, or a year before that, we changed our strategy to formulate a new phone, a new design, and we made an announcement last year. And now we have everything in-house. Everything is now under control.
Do you think that your sort of first try, did it harm your reputation?
I think it did. But it's okay. Well, failures for startups is the foundation for success. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Mm-hmm. You are planning something else than mass production. Do you think that it's possible to stay permanently in this business without economies of scale?
Right. Stay in this business, we would have to look into innovations. And we need to understand what our customers requires and needs. And this is why security becomes a major focus. We probably heard a lot of saga in the United States pertaining to security. Cybersecurity has been our focus and will be our focus. Many years ago, we spoken to media during the QS Alpha days. We've told media about security. Well, it wasn't so much of interest to them. But look at what happens in the last year or so. So I think we have a good eye, a good vision for the future, and that sort of direction, vision, and innovation will fuel our sustainability.
The global sort of security phone category is very narrow. What kind of market share you are aiming at on that narrow segment?
We are not marketing the Turing as a security phone. Just to reiterate, Turing is marketed as the new stylish, fashionable, different, with a personal taste sort of device. We have security, we have a good material, and we have a great user experience. It's marketed as your next stylish device. Security should be fundamental to all devices. It shouldn't just be our phone. It should be to all devices out there. There are companies out there, much bigger, have a security focus. They just don't pronounce it to the world. But security is fundamental.
What kind of market share you are aiming on that segment which you are aiming at?
Initially, I would say globally, we are aiming at just 1%. Just 1% for the next 18 months. And if we're able to achieve that, then we have full capability to go beyond.
Mm-hmm. What is the typical customer you would like to have?
Well, based on our current customer base, we have designers, business people, SME business owners, and a lot of artists, the music artists. It's people who are fond of new technologies, new design, and something different. So that segment in itself is pretty big. It's huge.
And you are aiming first of all to Chinese markets, right?
We have a good distributor in China, and naturally we want to sell more in China. But recently we've been getting a lot of requests from countries such as India, Middle Eastern countries, GCC countries, even in Europe.
Okay. But China is important area for you to make the marketing. But still you decided to take the production facilities to Finland, to Salo. How did you find initially Salo?
We have a friend in Finland, and we first landed in Helsinki back in August 23rd, 2015. And we heard about Salo through multiple meetings. There were factories idle, and they have full capabilities. And we all know about the history of Nokia, its capabilities. So that attracted me to Salo. And then I met with the mayor and a lot of other talented individuals. So finally, with the help of Smart Salo and even Microsoft, we're able to be now rooted in Salo.
Do you expect some kind of financial support from Salo or Finland?
I would say
public financing also.
Yes, we're already looking at various options. We've initiated talks already, but TI is new in Finland. We have a lot to do. We need to present ourselves properly so these institutions understand our needs, our future, our line of products, and the sort of people we're going to hire in terms of research and development. So if there's any financing that would come from Finland, it would be mostly focused on research and development, which means we will be hiring a lot more engineers rather than just people who assemble the phones.
Is public financing or public support, is it crucial for you?
It's not. It's nice to have, but as I said before, by next month we have our MD on board. He will be steering this initiative.
You switch from Android operating system to Sailfish operating system, which is made by Finnish Jolla, which has only very tiny market share. Is it a sort of challenge for you that the operating system is so tiny and there are no applications for compatible, or do you think that there are enough apps compatible for your phones?
Well, Sailfish is a wonderful operating system. It runs Android applications as well through a sandbox. It has a sandbox. And despite what the critics out there are saying, we personally tried it out. And it's fast, very extremely user-friendly. And it runs particularly fast on the Turing, which I'm personally quite satisfied. If we are to go for Android, then there are a lot of barriers. There's certifications, and once our device is out there, we are just one of the Android devices. It's nice to be one of the first for a wonderful OS like Sailfish, which its predecessor was me going all the way back to the Nokia Memo days. So I am fully confident that this operating system is the way to go, especially for the cipher phone idea I mentioned earlier.
The Jolla has had its own problems with financing. Do you think it's a risk for you to build up your products on that platform?
Absolutely not. We have a great relationship with Jolla, and we understand what that company's future is all about. I think the critics know part of the story, but having done our due diligence with Jolla, we're fully confident that we're able to take this much, much further. There's always a start for a challenging project like Sailfish or even Turing, but teaming up would change the perspective of this field.
You are not very well-known person in Finland. How could you introduce yourself personally to Finnish audience? I think quite many knows that you are architect, but what else? Who are you?
I was born in Taiwan. I was educated in United States, and I went to universities in University College London, the Bartlett School of Architecture, and I was trained at the Architecture Association School of Architecture. But then I dropped out. I was like one of those dropouts, went back to United States, immediately dived into the tech world, starting with the internet. And I had previously worked, consulted Yahoo Taiwan on their auction platform. And throughout the years, I have touched augmented reality field, mobile navigation software, cryptography, and all that. This variety of background brought me to the interest of a final product, which is a smartphone or a cipher phone.
You don't have engineer or IT technology education. Are you worried to be in that world without formal education?
Actually, I'm happy not being an engineer. It allows me to innovate much quicker and much more with a vast creativity.
TRI has its first anniversary this month. How do you celebrate the anniversary?
Well, it was anniversary for the launch of Turing, but I think we will launch or celebrate when we announce our next product, so that people would know we're not just a one-off company. We have a lot more technologies coming in coming months, and I think the tech world would be quite surprised what we have cooking.
Okay, thank you for your interview, Mr. Steve Chao.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.